A delicious Thai noodle salad is on the menu today with a peanut sauce. But I'm going to show you how to actually make peanut butter at home to create this sauce coming up right now on Cooking with Chef Bryan. Welcome to Cooking with Chef Bryan, everybody. I'm going to show you how to put together a delicious Thai noodle salad today with that yummy, yummy peanut dressing that I love so much on them. But I'm going to show you how to actually create that peanut dressing from scratch. Have you ever made peanut butter before? It's one of those really fun things that you can actually do with a blender, and we'll get into that here in just a second. First of all, I want to create all of the colors that are going to go into there. I just have some purple cabbage here, or red cabbage, however you want to refer to it. And I'm going to slice this up into some thin shreds, and this is going to go into our noodle salad as well. You can do this very easily with a food processor if you want to. Just put the shredding blade on and you can shred this off. I just am going to slice it up here because I don't need an awful lot, and I'm one of those people that I don't like to do dishes, and so if I don't have to dirty something up, I'm not going to, because I don't have to do the dishes. All right, so just slice this up. And that seems, maybe people are like, wait, you do your own dishes? Yes, I do my own dishes. All right, let's just slice this up, finish that up. Cabbage, I think, is one of those just so easy to use, universal foods. It's grown everywhere, and so you generally have a wonderful supply of cabbage wherever you live in the world. And so that's really nice. So there's some purple or red cabbage into there. Now what I want to do is add into it some green cabbage. And the fun thing I love about Asian cuisines, they always have great colors in there. A variety of food, various colors in their textures. And that is just one of the most, I think, appetizing and delicious things about Asian cuisine is they just always, just the variety. They always look so delicious, the varieties of them. So I'm just cutting out the stem in the cabbage itself. You don't want to use that. It's a little too hard. And so we'll just put that down into there. I'm going to slice this up, and then I'm going to take these and just kind of shred up the green cabbage, and we're going to add the green cabbage into there. Now earlier I cooked the rice noodles, and you can get rice noodles at any grocery store. I picked the ones that I found up here over to Smith's, and I have to tell you, I have a lot of comments that come in emails that people are like, oh, why don't you pre-portion out everything? Why don't you add it, little containers on the show, on the counter here? I actually don't, for a very good reason, because I want you all to see what I'm cooking with. And these are just items that you find at your local grocery store. And so a lot of them you probably already have in your pantries. And so to me, that's very important, so you can see what I'm cooking with. You can see it's the items that you have in your grocery store or in your pantries, because to me, a recipe is no good unless you actually make it yourself. That to me is the best recipe out there. And so if you're able to make the recipe yourself using the ingredients that you have at home, that to me is perfect. I love that. Okay, so I have the cabbage in here now. We'll give that a little toss so that it combines together. And like I said earlier, I've already cooked up the rice noodles. The rice noodles were very easy to cook. I just followed the directions on the package. You just add them to some boiled water, and then boiling water, and then what you'll do is just let them cook in there for a couple of minutes. But just simply follow the directions on the package, and that's going to help you out and tell you how to make them. And really, you can use any kind of noodle. You can use pasta noodle, spaghetti noodle in this if you wanted to. I just thought it'd be a little more fun using a more authentic rice noodle. And like I said, you can pick rice noodles up very easily at most grocery stores now in the Asian aisle. I'm going to use my hands here, which are clean. That is so important. And the reason I wanted to do it with my fingers and my hands, because those noodles are really hard to get mixed in with the other ingredients. And so that's why I like to do that with my fingers in there. Now, the other thing I've talked about before is having on hand just some stir-fry frozen vegetables. And that to me is so important because I use those in many things. If I want a nice vegetable for a side dish, I will add those into the oven and roast them off and put them with a side dish there. But I also use them in dishes like this that are really easy to put together, and I just need the vegetables to add into there, a variety of them. you can just thaw out some of those vegetables. I have broccoli, and there are peas and carrots and bell peppers in there. Just a lot of colors that are going to go into there. And that is so important with any food. The more colors that you have in there, I think the more nutrients that are in there. So always try and have a very colorful presentation of food. So once again, I'm going to use my fingers to toss this together. Hands are very clean. I'm doing with the hands because those noodles are hard to get everything mixed up into there. And if you don't use your hands, sometimes you don't get everything. You have like noodles and then everything else. So by using your hands, you can actually break into the cooked noodles there and get those tossed with all of the other ingredients. So over here, I do have the peanut butter machine here. I call it the peanut butter machine. When we come back, I'll show you how to actually make your own homemade peanut butter. It's really much easier than you may have thought. Don't go away, everyone.
It's no secret, frozen rolls are fresher than bakery rolls. You see, bakery rolls are made in commercial bakeries. Then they sit all day in stores. Some even contain preservatives because rolls begin to stale immediately. By the time you eat your roll, it could already be days old. Rhodes Bake and Serve is found in your grocer's freezer. Simply take Rhodes frozen roll dough home and let it thaw and rise in a pan. Bake Rhodes rolls in your own oven. Rhodes Bake and Serve, hot and fresh, right out of your oven.
Welcome back, everybody. We're working on a delicious Thai noodle salad with a peanut dressing. I love the peanut dressings on Asian food, especially Thai food. And in the salad here, we have I added in the shredded cabbage, both a purple or red cabbage and a green cabbage. I also have the rice noodles that I put into there. And I was telling you a little bit just about always having a bag of frozen stir-fried vegetables in your freezer because they come in handy so frequently. And that's exactly what I did. I just thawed out some of the stir-fried vegetables, added them into there, and I have a variety of vegetables already that are there. Frozen vegetables are really a great option that you can cook with because they're picked fresh and then just flash frozen into there. And so it's a great economical way to get vegetables into your diet if you don't have fresh ones in the refrigerator. So I'm just using the green onions. I'm going to chop these into there. I have a lot of people that'll say, well, how much of the green onion do I use? Well, as you can see, I'm using every little bit of it that I can. I did chop off the root end of it and the top end of it so that I didn't have that dried piece of the stalk of the green onion in there. And so just enough to take off that dried end, and then you chop everything up and add those into it. So let's add those green onions. Oh, I love the smell of green onions. They remind me of my childhood because we used to do this dare, and when we were kids and we'd go out to the garden and pick some green onions, and then we'd dare our friends to see who could eat them without pulling any faces. How's that for a childhood memory of food? I was always destined to be a chef. We were always out in the garden picking tomatoes or green onions or something to eat as kids, and then we'd run away, think that we had some great secret that we were hiding with the fresh vegetables to make sure none of the adults saw us get them. But I'm sure they probably did and probably said, good, I'm glad to see him eating vegetables. So let's start now with making peanut butter. Nut butters are really very easy to do. It's just the actual nut that's pureed into a butter. And so I want to start just with this carafe here. Now this is Blendtec. If you have a small one, this is their specific nut carafe. Blendtec, I love it because they're a Utah company just up the road here from Salt Lake City. And so hello to all my Blendtec friends out there. But this is the nut carafe, and I really enjoy it because it's small enough, it has a wide enough base on it that the blade will actually pull things into it, and the lid is specific. It actually has some blades on it itself, so when you've got the lid on there, you can turn the lid and it will help scrape down the edges of the carafe here. And so it helps in making the nut butters. Do you need something like this? No, you absolutely don't. You can do this in your own blender at home and just make it. It may take a few more stirrings on there to get all of the nuts pureed, but that is perfectly fine. Now, I always get asked, can you make nut butters in your food processor? Yes, you can. It just takes a little bit of time to scrape down and stir it because it doesn't have the same mechanism in it as the food processor as the blenders do. And so just keep that in mind when you're doing it. The whole purpose of it is get those nuts blended up so that you can put them into a butter form. So these are just good old salted peanuts from Costco. You can buy and use whatever ones you want. If you don't like the salt, You can buy unsalted roasted peanuts. Be sure you get the roasted ones. You don't want raw peanuts into there because raw peanuts have a really odd taste. If you do have raw peanuts, roast them first and then actually puree them up. And so it's a very simple thing to do. You could do this with walnuts, you can do it with pecans, you can do it with almonds, you can do it with any type of nut. And so let's turn this on, get that going. And just like that, we have fresh peanut butter. How easy is that? No preservatives, no anything in there, no emulsifiers. This is the freshest peanut butter I think you'll get, unless you grow your own peanuts, which if you do, that's pretty impressive, But what I want to do is continue on and actually build the dressing in here. So now that I have the actual peanuts in here that have been ground down into peanut butter, and like I said, if you're not a peanut fan, you can use almonds, you can use walnuts, you can use any kind of a nut to create a nut butter such as this. And so very simple to do. If you have a nut allergy, try using a bean such as a great northern bean in there and puree it kind of into a hummus so that you have something to coat the salad in. So it's just up to you. Be creative, have some fun with it. To our peanut sauce here, we're going to start to add a little bit of orange juice to it. Just some orange juice you can buy at the grocery store. We're going to begin to build those flavor spectrums into there, which I think are so amazing in Asian cuisine. Here's a little bit of soy sauce that we're going to add some soy sauce into there. And because of the soy sauce, you need to be careful with salt because soy sauce already has salt in it. So you've just added more salt to it. The peanuts that I use are salted in there, so you probably won't need any salt. So create it first and then taste it, adjust salt as needed into there. Also, I want to add just a little splash of some toasted sesame seed oil into there. You could actually even make a sesame seed butter if you wanted to. And that type of cuisine is used in hummus. And so if you've ever made hummus, then you know that you use a sesame seed butter in there. So we'll keep working on this when we come back. Don't go away. It's a delicious Thai noodle salad.
As summer comes into full swing, it's time to fire up the grill and treat your family to a special outdoor meal featuring everyone's favorite Klondike brand potatoes. Enjoy preparing one of our many chef-inspired recipes from the web, or create your own backyard culinary masterpiece using varieties from the full line of Klondike potatoes. Visit KlondikeBrands.com today for hundreds of recipe ideas and make your summers sizzle with Klondike Brands.
Welcome back, everybody, to Cooking with Chef Bryan. I'm working on a delicious Thai noodle salad today in the kitchen, which I love Asian cuisine because of all the colors, the textures, the flavors that go into it, and it's just really darn good. So I hope you make this really soon because it's a great one, and if nothing else, go online, get the recipe at cookingwithchefbryan.com for the dressing itself. So easy to do. We created up our own peanut butter in here. This is the nut carafe on the Blendtec blender. You can pick it up at any stores or go on their website, I'm sure, and get it there. And then once the peanut butter was created into there, I've added some orange juice, a little bit of soy sauce has gone into there. For a little bit of heat, I'm going to add some sriracha. Just some prepared sriracha into there. You can use any type of a hot sauce that you want. It's just I happen to like the sriracha a little bit better. You could also add in jalapeno if you wanted to into there and blend it in. It's just up to you however you want to spice that up, and you can adjust that according to how much spice you want in there. So very simple to do. A little bit of toasted sesame seed oil went into there. I'm going to add some honey for sweetness to go into there. You can use agave nectar if you want to. I happen to like honey into it, and I just get the honey at Costco as well. We're going to add a few more flavors now at this point. Ginger. I love fresh ginger root, but I can never use it fast enough. It always spoils in the fridge. So here's my little trick when it comes to ginger root. When you buy it, use what you need to for the fresh, and then put the rest in the freezer. And so as I need it, I'll pull out the ginger root and it is frozen, but it's still as good as if it were fresh. And so that's kind of how I keep the ginger root, because when I buy it in the store, inevitably, I always buy too much because my eyes are bigger than my thought process, and I always get too much ginger. And so that way, by freezing it, I can keep it, and it lasts forever in the freezer. What you do is you just take it out of the freezer, chop off as much as you're going to need, return the rest to the freezer, and then you just use it like that. So it's very simple to use like that. Okay, let's add a little bit of fresh lime juice into there as well. Ooh, that's a squirty one. So limes have citric acid in them, and citric acid is Mother Nature's MSG. It's going to really help to brighten up the flavor of our dressing here. So a lot of Asian cuisine has MSG in it, and if you're not an MSG fan, then citric acid or citrus fruit is a great way to really help brighten the flavors without adding in the MSG. Now also to that, let's add in a garlic clove and blend that all together. And this is why I like making it in the craft, is because now I made the fresh peanut butter in there. I can just add everything else into there and blend it together, because it'll blend beautifully in there as well. And just be careful once again with the amount of salt, because I have a lot of ingredients in here that have salt, from the roasted peanuts and the soy sauce in there. So never salt it until after it's made, so that you can just check it and adjust as needed. Okay, let's mix this all together. I know it's going to be loud, sorry, but we'll get this all blended together and get this started, and it'll be perfect. There we go. As you see, it doesn't take long. And there we go. It is all blended together. We literally have, I think, one of the freshest dressings you could ever hope for. And this peanut dressing here, I always like to make more, because then what I'll do is just put it in an airtight container in the refrigerator, and it'll hold in there for a good couple of weeks, and you can use it on various salads and things like that. It also makes a really good marinade, believe it or not, for chicken, if you're going to do some chicken. The only thing you have to be careful is there is sugar in here. Sugar burns with chicken, and so you may want to just add this peanut dressing onto the chicken about the last 2 to 3 minutes of finishing cooking it, and then you'll have a nice peanut chicken to go with it, which you could add into your salad if you wanted to. So I just grabbed a spoon because I want to taste the dressing, and just make sure we have enough salt and other heat in their spice to make it delicious. And that's really, really delicious. Then grab another spoon here. I'm going to scoop this into the salad. When we come back, we'll finish this all up. It is such the perfect Thai noodle salad with a homemade, freshly made peanut sauce dressing. You're going to love it. Don't go away. We'll finish it up when I come back.
It's no secret, frozen rolls are fresher than bakery rolls. You see, bakery rolls are made in commercial bakeries. Then they sit all day in stores. Some even contain preservatives, because rolls begin to stale immediately. By the time you eat your roll, it could already be days old. Rhodes Bake and Serve is found in your grocer's freezer. Simply take Rhodes frozen roll dough home and let it thaw and rise in a pan. Bake Rhodes rolls in your own oven. Rhodes Bake and Serve, hot and fresh, right out of your oven.
Welcome back, everybody, to Cooking with Chef Bryan. I am just finishing up this delicious Thai noodle salad. We made our own peanut dressing. We actually made peanut butter, then turned it into a dressing. Oh, it's so good. I've been over here eating it during the commercial. It's pretty darn tasty. So now I'm going to add this into here. And I hope you've noticed I've switched to some just some food-safe gloves, vinyl gloves here, because the dressing is a little thick. You can thin it out if you want to, according to your own flavor. But the reason why I have gloves on, because honestly, I think Mother Nature gave me the best mixers possible. Better than tongs, better than anything else. And so I just put the gloves in there so that I can take them off so my fingers don't get all messy. And what I'm doing is basically getting that all nice and coated with the dressing. And I do like to have the dressing a little thicker at first here when I add it into it, because remember, you have all of that water from the noodles, you have the water from the frozen vegetables that inevitably are in there. Doesn't matter how well you've strained that, inevitably there's always some water in there. So it's going to help thin out that dressing. And so that's kind of why I start first with a thicker dressing. so that all the water, I'm compensating for the water that's in there from the noodles and from the frozen vegetables that may have water on there as well. And you can see now my hands are rather messy, and now I can just actually take off these gloves, and my hands are going to be good for TV, and we can just finish this up very easily here. So one last thing I want to do to add into it are a little bit of just some roasted peanuts to go into there to tie everything together. Since it is a peanut dressing that's on there, I wanted the peanuts on there to tie everything together. I'm going to add these into just a large serving bowl. These would be delicious. You could make up the salad and serve it with some wonderful Rhodes rolls. Would be great with this. You could serve that onto there and it would just be a delicious salad. And it's very easy. This is the thing I love about Asian cuisine as well. It's very easy to make and it comes together really quickly. So that's a simple thing. Finish it off with a little bit of some roasted peanuts there on top. I like them a little bit larger. If you want them smaller, you can actually chop them and just add some chopped peanuts on top. But I think a delicious Thai noodle salad like that with those peanuts on top, perfect. Can't wait for you to head over to cookingwithchefbryan.com. Grab the recipe on there. You can find it in there if you want. You can Google me and just Google in what I'm making, followed by Chef Bryan. It'll pull up those recipes, or there is a search bar in the website as well that you can use if you're trying to find a specific recipe. You can find me on all social media, so I'll look forward to seeing you there. Enjoy a delicious Thai noodle salad, everyone. You can find all of these complete recipes on my website, cookingwithchefbryan.com.